Lead the charge with Milwaukee. Performance, power, precision, no petrol hassles. Learn more at milwaukeetool.com.au. Milwaukee, nothing but heavy duty. Aces, I know I always talk about the RIXXs, but I got to offer you the discount again. In case you've forgotten or in case you're sleeping under a rock, we have a special discount code for everyone that listens to this podcast or watch the podcast. It's ACES. Head online to rixeyewear.com.au and use the discount code ACES and you'll get 20% off. That's right, 20% off, 1/5 at checkout and free express shipping. So head online, rixeyewear.com.au and check it out. All right, do we have a big show for you today? Let's get stuck into it. Welcome back, everybody. The podcast, the Tommy Talks podcast. I've been looking at all the DMs. You know, before I introduce my guest today, I go on my phone. I see so many comments sometimes, at all hours of the night, and you see these messages, and all the people want, they want a lot of things, but one of the main things they want is they want the dog back in the studio. So I've got him. The brown dog's back, baby.
Tommy, yeah, it's good to be back, mate. I've missed you.
I've missed you, mate. I've missed you. I've obviously we catch up on the side, but I always go, mate, I need you back in the studio soon because I got a lot of people. You kicked our season off in style, and it's not like this ain't a one and done. This is you keep coming back, and when the spring carnival is around the corner, I just thought it makes sense to get the dog in and to go through all of the spring carnivals and get his mail because I know the dog lands mail. You don't have to be right every time, but when you're right once, it's generally juicy and it'll be enough to for all of us to celebrate.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed, mate. My favourite time of the year, sort of the end of September, which leads into the grand final, and now spring. Good horses out, weather's nice. We get to the racetrack. We like to socialise, and it's a bloody good time of year to be in Melbourne. So I know you're turning 30 and heading off to New York.
Yeah,
that'll be nice.
Yeah, heading to the States with the fam. So
beautiful.
Going to catch when this podcast is out. I'll be watching the Chargers and Dallas, or would have been just before. So do that in LA and then head to New York for a week and a half with my mum, my dad, and my sisters. So.
We'll find some winners, mate, and we'll pay for the trip.
Yeah, so I'll have to get a VPN, mate, and hook it up so I can do a couple, so I can follow the dog's tips. So I'll put a few future bets on. But before we get into the spring carnival, mate, talk to me about your grand final week because you're everywhere.
Yeah.
What does a grand final or an AFL finals series look like for the brown dog?
No, it was busy. Obviously, there's the extra work that you do, throughout the course of the week, but then you're trying to enjoy yourself as well. So there was the Paul Connors Wednesday night party at Bell's Hotel. There was a luncheon Thursday. I was out and about Friday night as well. And then the grand final was massive. From the morning, did a few crosses for 7 and ticked a few things off. But once they bounced that ball at 2:30, I was done and dusted and really pinned the ears back. So yeah, it was actually pretty funny. I got a call like a month out, and they said, "Oh, how would you like to be involved in the rule lunch, which is the old EJ Whitten lunch?"
Yep.
And I've done it a few times. I thought, beautiful. That sounds good. Go there for a charity for a really good cause. Sit on the panel for 10, 15 minutes, and you're done. I didn't think too much of it. I'd agreed. I'd committed to the lunch. And as the lunch got a bit closer, I saw some of the names that, they were starting to get Simon Black and Gavin Wanganeen, Max Gorn, Christian Petrarca, John Platten, right? I'm thinking, these guys are legends. How good is it going to be to sit on the stage with them and tell a couple of grand final stories? And I read the first panel. It was hosted by Luke Darcy, and I wasn't on the first panel. I thought, beautiful, I can sit back, enjoy my steak and have a few beers, and I'll come in the second panel. And then the second panel was released. I wasn't on that either. I thought to myself, what the fuck am I doing at this lunch? Right? Unbeknownst to me, they'd wheeled in a treadmill, right? And my involvement in the day was to run on the treadmill for the duration of the lunch for 3 and a bit hours, right?
Is that what you were doing?
Yeah, so everyone was sitting there having like lunch, having beers, right? And they put me in a rule polo, which is woolen, right? And I got on a treadie and I ran at 8.5 kilometres an hour for 3 hours, mate. Wringing wet. People are walking past going, good on you, Bounty. Cheers, right? Fucking having beers. I ran 25 Ks. Was cast. Absolutely cast, mate. My calves went, my adductor, my knee, like it was great fun. It was a great cause. We raised, 110 grand, for a great charity, prostate cancer. But it wasn't how I envisaged the Thursday of grand final week. I couldn't walk for a week.
I didn't know that was because I've seen all the and well done, mate. Congratulations. I've seen all the work, and I thought that was a planned approach, and you've been doing all these runs around the tan for that reason. You've gone there for a lunch on the piss.
I thought I was going to get on the piss. I walked in with my suit. They quickly put me in my runners. So no, it was good fun. So
that's
grand
gold.
final week done and dusted. Can relax a bit now and really just focus in on the ponies, which is good.
Yeah, it's seamless for you, straight from the footy season into the ponies. Did you watch the league granny as well?
Huge.
Like what a weekend of sport. It was just the AFL granny was a cracker. Could have went either way at the end, and then same thing with the NRL. Like, what were your takeaways from the NRL granny?
Oh, mate, I think rarely in sport do you see someone just literally put their team on their back and just carry them to win a grand final. Like players do it in the home and away season. Toby Green has done it, and I reckon Jordan De Goey in the prelim did it. But when the game is at its hottest, that's when you make your reputation, right? And stars rise. And what Nathan Cleary did, mate, in that, the back end of the second half was. I'm not even a rugby guy. Like I watch it and I like the Storm boys and everything, but like you couldn't help but sit there and be just inspired. You know what I mean? Like, it was freakish. And then he come out a few days later and he's going to miss the Australian tour because he's got that knee injury which he sustained like at the 8-minute mark.
Crazy.
So you just think, wow, like you're just even in more awe of his performance under a bit of duress. It was the best couple of days for sport in Australia. Like the granny couldn't have been better, ours. And then the NRL tops it probably on the Sunday night. Best reality, TV of all time. If you ask me, sport.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
You can stick, you're married at first sight and all that up your ass, mate. Australian sport, that's the real deal.
You're not watching that at home, are you?
MASH, I do, man.
Yeah, you watching MASH and that, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Do you actually giggle at all the stuff?
I just look at the participants and be like, how the fuck can they put themselves on this show? Like, what do you expect? And then they say, they manipulated, they edited footage, and it's like, well, it's not season 1, season 11. You know what you're going to get. Yeah.
They edit it really well, don't they? How do you reckon you'd go on something like that? Like generally,
disaster.
Like just a disaster.
Yeah, I'd be just going berserk.
And then the edit would just
abusing people. Like, yeah, no, I don't take dickheads lightly, man, unfortunately.
Too honest.
It's got me in a bit of trouble over the journey.
Oh, it's fucking funny. Let's get into it. The Spring Carnival. For anyone out there that doesn't understand the Spring Carnival, how would you sum it up before we get right into it?
I absolutely love horse racing. So for me, it's about racing. For me, ticks every box because you can go there and not know a thing about horses and get dressed up and be social with your friends and you'd still have a cracking day. The other side of it is obviously if you love, having a bet and you follow the horses, you go there to have a few beers with your mates and have a punt and watch the really good horses go. But you can make it whatever you want and that's what I like. Melbourne's always been a really social place. And you get 100,000 people at Flemington or, at Caulfield in the next couple of weeks. Some are there to just party for the DJ afterwards. Some are there for the food. The oldies can go and sit in a dining area and, have a nice relaxed day and nice food. You can do whatever you want. And so I enjoy that. So I try and do all of that.
yeah, all in one.
But yeah, it's a special time of the year. And one of my favourite race days is Caulfield Guineas Day because you get unbelievable Group 1 racing. It's not packed to the rafters. It's a bit more for the purists. And then Flemington, rolls around. Cox Plate is probably the best in terms of from a viewing point. Heaps of people go to Flemington, they don't even watch a race because they're in the birdcage socialising. Whereas if you go to Caulfield, you're right at Cox Plate, you're at Mooney Valley, you're right over the track. You can really It's like a cauldron. You can really see it. And then, Flemington's, it's good. Yeah, it's not too bad. My favourite day is Caulfield Guineas Day, so I'll be heading there and enjoying it.
Is that on this week? It's on this week. So when this podcast gets, it'll be the results. So we'll start with Caulfield Cup. I wanted to give everyone a Brown Dog special, but we're not just talking horse racing, but we're talking about Caulfield and the Caulfield Cup. You know, I'm talking kit as well because I've got to Derby Day and some people that don't understand the rules on Derby Day. But Caulfield Cup, talk to me about the day, how you should shape your day up with the dog.
Yeah, well, so when I first come to Melbourne, early 90s, one of the first, I loved racing. My old man owned trotters and gallopers and had a bit of success with racing with, Rex Hunt and a few of those crew. But one of the first race meets that I ever remember going to, like not with my parents, like with a few mates, was the 97 Caulfield Cup. Mike and Power won it. I actually backed Mike and Power that day as like a 13 or 14-year-old. I got a little dog. I named it Mighty after the great mare. And
that's brilliant.
Yeah, and so Mike and Power lobbed that day. Very famous ride. The pumper jumped, and the instructions were
Jimmy the pumper.
Yeah,
was he on it?
The instructions were don't lead, and Jimmy jumped and led and kicked and won by 7 or 8 lengths. One of the great rides. And the horse went on to win the Melbourne Cup, and that is a famous memory for me. So I've always loved the Caulfield Cup and the history of it. It's a bit of a shame that we don't get the same internationals going to the Caulfield Cup like the Japanese and everything like we had before COVID. But there's a horse that come to Australia a couple of weeks ago, and it's called West Wind Blows. It's an Irish horse that's been racing in England and France, and really good horse. And I watched it in the Turnbull, and I basically just said, no matter what happens today, if the horse wins or runs fourth, it'll just be perfect for the Caulfield Cup. West Wind Blows. I think it's $6.50 or $7. It's probably one of the favourites for the Caulfield Cup, but I reckon, it's a really good horse. I reckon it's better than the lot we've got here in Australia, and that run in the Turnbull was really good. Got well beaten by Gold Trip, but hit the line well for second, and that's who my money's going to be on. I still reckon it's a pretty decent price.
Yeah,
West Wind Blows.
$6.50 is juicy, yeah. There you go. That's your tip. What about Caulfield, the track? What do you love about just the day and the, it's obviously it's a different day to, like, as I said, Mooney Valley and Flemington and all the other tracks. But what do you love about Caulfield?
Yeah, they've done well. I think what racing clubs are understanding a little bit more. The couple of things that they've needed to get right is tapping into the next generation. Racing has always been for the older people, and you see a lot of elderly people on track. How do you engage, the next up and coming kids? To want to go to the races and have a day out. So things like they've had beach club parties and DJs after the races and all that sort of stuff. They've made it more a party environment.
A bit like golf, how golf's becoming like that now.
Like live golf a little bit. That was dying a very, very slow death. You had your traditionalists that loved golf no matter what. But how are you going to engage young people that want excitement? Cricket did that with the Big Bash. And you got to remember when that first started, we were going, what? Like 20 over cricket, and all that sort of stuff. But they were almost ahead of their time a little bit. And it's just taken a few other sports a little bit more time to catch on that while tradition is great, you need to continue to look for the next market. And Peter Volandis is the best sports administrator in the absolute country, if you ask me. He runs Racing New South Wales and rugby and everything. He invented the Everest. Now that's the golden crown for sprinters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So big prize money, that helps. But you've got to make it an enjoyable environment and event to cater for everyone. And I think Caulfield do that unbelievably well now. They've got the kids club, so you can rock up as a family and have the clip clop, kids doing their face painting and stuff. You got the 18 to 25-year-olds that just want to go there and smash cans. and you've got the older, I'm getting old now, 40-year-olds that love racing and sort of in the middle. I don't want to be sitting behind the glass having scones and tea. But I'm not there for the rave, for the party, so you find a nice little marquee there. You can have a few drinks and socialise, and then the connections well catered for there. You can get in the mounting yard if you own the horse, which is what the real experience of racing is. There's nothing better than rocking up on course. And I used to do it. I've only got shit slow horses now.
We need to get you a fast one.
I rock up to the Stony Creek, mounting yard for a maiden to watch my horse run last. But I used to rock up and have a favourite in Group 1 on these big days, at Caulfield and Flemington, Sir Rupert Clarke Stakes and things like that. It's when Sweet Idea was going around, and like the anticipation, the build up for the race. Mate, it's the best.
Like when you walk in now, right? So comparing when you did have the Group 1 and it's a favourite and it's a big chance, fair few people coming up to you, getting around you.
How's she going to go? Good luck, like you're in the mountain.
And now
yard.
you kind of go and you're doing that to others kind of thing.
Yeah. You're supporting your mates that have horses in the big races, and there's a part of you that's like, damn it, I'd love to, but it's just different. Quite often you've backed the horse as well. You've known where they were going to go, so you've taken future bets at a good price, and you've got to go on for the prize money as well. So it's just a bloody great. It's just a great feeling, and then obviously the disappointment if they don't win or whatever. But
the dog picks himself back up pretty quickly. Yeah, I know. You got to move on quickly, but I mean, I'm not in a horse, and I've always said later in life, but I'd want to do it with me mates. But geez, I could only imagine, like Broady we had on the podcast with Solcombe. It's in the Melbourne Cup. It's, I think, third or fourth favourite. I can only imagine how nervous and the feeling of that. Like it's almost, I reckon they'll be so nervous on, game day, race day. Like you'd be walking down, everyone would be going.
You're more nervous as an owner of a horse than you are going into a grand final or a big match, because you feel like you've got no control over anything. Trainer's done the training. Jockey does, the riding. The track is what it is. Throughout the whole process in that week leading up to the Group 1 or the big race, like you've really done not a thing. Yeah. You paid the bill. That's it. Whereas footy, you know if you've done your extra massage, you've done your recovery properly, you've done your goal kicking after, going in that you're where you need to be.
Yeah.
Whereas you have no idea about, the horse, the jockey, everything. So you're just hoping the little jockeys don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
That happens every now and then.
They do get stuck. As long as they're not on the fence, man. If they're stuck on the fence, that's one thing surely the dog would have said to. Have you ever have a word to the jockeys?
The two things I hate horses getting too far back.
Yep.
And then flying for a good fourth or fifth.
Waste of time.
I'd prefer them to be up on speed and digging and fighting, and then if someone comes over the top and it fatigues in the last 50 or 100 and you end up running fourth, I'd prefer that because you feel like you're in the race the whole time.
Yeah.
I hate watching horses get back.
I hate when they go back.
I know some have to. That's how they're trained and that's how they run best.
But I don't understand this, right? So I've always thought about it like as if I was to race you, right? If me and you run from here to a kilometre away, right?
You'd win by
but it doesn't matter. I'd have a time and so would you, right? And we'd do it again and we'd have another time, right? So the horses are the same. They run to time. But I don't understand why they can't change the pattern of the way I know they like to swoop, like to lead, but I think if you're a swooper, then sit at midfield, just midfield. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't sit dead last. Sit midfield.
Barriers and tempo and all that come into it.
Comes into it. But if you've got the chance and when they come out of barrier 1 or 2 or 3 and they just go slow and they all just come across and you get
buried on the fence.
But it's a swooper. It's all right. And it does. It comes flying through. You
need luck, don't you?
Oh, you need more than luck.
I would have had a heart attack if I owned Chautauqua. That horse would get back last and still be last at the 400 and you'd go, can't win. And like it's the most exhilarating watching a horse come from last.
It is the best
and fly, but leave me out of it, mate. I'm Gay Waterhouse, race them on speed, race them to be tough, and at least then they're half a chance.
That's brilliant. Staying on Caulfield before we move on, your biggest win on the punt at Caulfield, or your most memorable win on the punt at Caulfield, you'd have to have one, wouldn't you?
Oh, we've hit the quaddies a couple of times, and there's been a few good results. I won't go into figures because you might think I'm a bit sick, but
But
I mean, when you're in a group quaddie with your mates, and whether you've put in $10 each, 50 or 100, whatever it is, I reckon that feeling of you're alive in the last leg, and my absolute punting pet hate is going one out in the quaddie in the last leg.
Oh,
I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. Go wide in the last leg.
Go early.
And give yourself, multiple chances of winning because you want to win.
Yeah.
But I reckon when you're alive in the quad in the last leg and you're with half a dozen mates on it, a Bucks party, or we had my Bucks party up at Randwick. The year Boban won the Epsom. And actually, that's the year that we're out at Mississippi, that good joint in Double Bay.
Yeah.
And we're sitting around on the Friday night having a few drinks, and the talk turned to chokeholds. And Johnny Barker, a great mate of mine, I'm the godfather of his first daughter, Charlie. He was into that old jiu-jitsu. We were training with John Donahue, who was the grappling and tackling coach for the Storm. And Johnny had this obsession with putting people in chokeholds and putting them to sleep, right?
Yeah.
Which is a fucking weird obsession. But anyway, we're sitting around having a few drinks in Double Bay the night before the Epsom, and I start chirping away at Jason Dunstall, Chief, right, and just having a crack at him, giving him a little clip, and he says something along the lines of, "Mate, you keep that up, and Barks will put you to sleep." And I go, "Oh, yeah, good on you, mate. I've been playing footy for 11 years. No one's ever knocked me out. I never got knocked out." Yeah. That's why I always laugh when I say something and people go, "Oh, Brown's got too many head knocks, CTE." It's like, I wish I could use that as an excuse, but I actually can't because I never got knocked out. My brain is fucking fine. It's full health. And I said, I've never been knocked out or put to sleep, so I doubt that any of you flogs sitting around here would be able to do it. And I keep chipping it at Jason throughout the course of the night. And Jason goes to Johnny, but clicks his fingers and goes, "Barks, put him to sleep." And Barks goes, "Whoa. And I can't do that. I ain't mate of mine. It's his Bucks party." And he says, "If you ever defy my orders again, you'll never work in the industry." So Barks is assistant coach at Carlton at the time, right, aspiring to be a senior coach. And he goes, "Oh, righto, right." So I have one more go at Dunstall, and he goes, "Barks, sleep." He comes up behind me, and I knew it was coming, right? And I sort of leant back into Barks, thinking like he's not going to actually do it. And he does that, whatever the choker hold is, mate. I wake up 10 seconds later to the security at Mississippi going, "Wake up." I wake up, and he says, "Mate, you're out. You've just passed out in the establishment." I said, and I went, no. And I got up like there's a snitch. I went, he did it. He did it, right? And mate, he just laid me on the floor unconscious, and Dunstall's sitting there, big Jace, like laughing, great bloke, he's laughing, and he's going, "Kip up, flog, have a nap, can't," like this, like, just potting me while I'm unconscious. Mate, sobered up instantly. Yeah, anyway, I digress.
I thought there'd be a name of a horse or something. Digress. You can digress all day with fucking stories like that.
But being alive in the last leg of a quaddie with your mates at a function, and you get the chockies is great. That's a little tangent. I went off a little tangent.
The Chief just giving you a couple on while you just
kip up. He reckons
kip up. That is great. Kip up is something that you don't hear that terminology.
Nah, that's a bit old school.
That's fantastic.
Kip up, flog.
Kip up.
No concern at all for my safety.
At school, we had blokes doing that kind of stuff, but they would push you on the wall. It's pretty dangerous, but like it was similar stuff, and they had to keep breathing in, and if you just kept pushing them hard on the wall, they'd run out of oxygen, they'd fall asleep for 10 seconds, and away they go. It become it was a real dangerous thing going around at school.
It's not safe.
So you have been put to sleep?
That's the only time. That's the only time.
Was he just bang?
Just cuts off your oxygen to your brain, and he couldn't believe how quickly I went. But I think because most people would resist that, because I knew it was coming, I sort of relaxed into him. Maybe that's why I went really quickly.
That's it, yeah.
Security.
What was it like getting slapped on the face?
Well, I was pissed off because I had a Malibu pineapple, and when I fell on the ground, I spilt it. So I was ropeable that I'd lost half my drink, you know?
On the Malibu pineapples, well, mate, I reckon you've made them famous. Like a lot of people out there do send us at the Aces just on the piss.
Yeah, fantastic.
Malibu pineapples and just right
drink,
on the brown dog.
It's a drink.
Yeah, it's actually one of the nicest drinks you can have.
Underrated, mate. Yeah.
You can have a vodka soda. You can have a lot of them, but it gets to a point where you go, it's a bit. You can taste the vodka now. You need a sweetener.
Yeah, Caribbean rum, baby.
Oh, you should. I honestly think you should bring out your own Caribbean rum. I honestly think if you believe in something so much, I mean, I believe in it. I only had the drink because of you, and it tastes that good.
No, it does.
I don't think there's anyone out there putting this in a can. I think we've got ourselves an opportunity.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point.
Just in a can, one flavour. It's not like you got to go and continually market.
I judge establishments as to whether they have it or not, and I know the high end ones don't have it, right? And they say, we can offer you an alternate, of something. Fuck off, mate. I want Malibu. That's what I just asked for. Go down to the bottle-o and buy yourself a bottle of Malibu. I'll pay for it, and we'll sort it out, I don't want an alternative.
It's actually a great one. Any establishments out there, if they don't have Malibu, there's something wrong.
There's a few that don't. It's too...
Is it because not a lot of people order it?
Maybe. I think that they think they're too good for Malibu.
Oh, is Malibu not that high up on the...
I wouldn't have thought so.
There you...
I'll tell you why, because majority of people are 15 to 17 that drink it, and they're not allowed in the establishment. So what's the point of having a drink that they can't order?
Oh, it's one of the nicest drinks, so well done. Righto, so let's get on to Cox Plate. Now we go to the Valley, Mooney Valley. As you said, you got horses there before the race. Is he still doing that? He still does that, doesn't he, Daryl?
No, he didn't the last couple of years. No, Robbie Dolan sang it, and I'm not sure why. Okay. It just changed it up, but it's iconic, brilliant. Love that. I was there I used to love Sunline back in the day. So, 1999 when I was year 10 and 2000, like she was the horse that I loved. So they're the early memories. I was there for Winx's 4 Cox Plate. So it's a great race. It's a funny one. So Amelia's Jewels at this stage, right now as we speak, is not going there. And Romantic Warrior, the Hong Kong horse that was a $2 pop in the Turnbull last week,
wasn't that disappointing?
Got rolled, and I actually laid that horse. I was prepared to risk it on the day because at that price, first time it's raced out of Hong Kong, drew an awkward gate. The trainer, Shum, come out and said, the horse is only 85% fit. So there was just a few little factors that I was like, okay, well, I'll just lay it, and we got the result. But the horse will be much better second up, and it is a bona fide star. So I wouldn't read too much into it getting rolled in the Turnbull or come on from that. It'll be fitter. Certainly, you'd think if it draws a gate and can sit on speed at Mooney Valley, that'll help. But I'm a huge fan of Amelia's Jewel.
Yep.
Just need to work out who's favourite in that race.
Yeah, Amelia's Jewel at $4, Romantic Warrior $4.50, and then Mr. Brightside $6. So surely,
Brightside's a good horse. Best miler in the country, without a doubt.
Hasn't done a thing like every race you watch. It's just
most consistent horse in the country.
Oh, like I bet against it last race just because I thought, I'll take Alligator Blood. It blew it apart. Yeah. Silly. Yeah. And you think in this race, I mean, it's only another
likes the Valley.
It's only another 440 metres.
Well, it likes the Valley. I mean, it won the All-Star Mile there. This is obviously a bit further, but couldn't rule that horse out. It's a star. I would lean to Amelia's Jewel if it runs. And if not, I reckon it's probably a race there's not a lot of value in. A Gold Trip could come out and
win.
$7. I know that last year it was huge in the Cox Plate and come out and won the Melbourne Cup. Similar preparation, obviously, this year. Why not? It wouldn't surprise me, but I'd lean probably towards. I hope the Jewel runs in the Cox Plate, the Perth horse.
Yep. So you're going to go with the Jewel. That's good. So We haven't got any roughies yet, but that's great. I mean, traditionally in the
I've
Cox...
got a roughie in the Melbourne Cup.
Oh, there you go. We'll get to that in a second.
And it'll be a huge price as well.
Oh, we love that. While we're on the Cox Plate, memories, what should you be doing? You know, the area, it's a little bit out. You know, it's around Essendon Way. Just things that you used to love, people you always go to the track with. Any other tips on Mooney Valley?
Yeah, I've gone to a couple of Cox Plates with John O'Brien. I think he was actually the ambassador last year. He was the face of it. So good. There's a good area up the top of the grandstand called the observation deck, and that gives you a really good bird's eye view of the track. I think last year it was maybe a bit rainy and wet and overcast, so it's good to be under a bit of cover, be up there close to a bar, and close to a tab as well. Just because sometimes at the racetracks, with so many people there,
crashes. Yeah,
you can't get on. You know, on your online apps.
There's nothing better than wiping a bookie out, though. I know they always beat. I mean, the bookies always win, but when you can physically go up to a bloke, it doesn't happen much, by the way, Brown Dog.
Cash feels good, doesn't it?
Doesn't it just go, mate, just going to cash that bet in, and you can see him just getting the cash. That feels so good.
And you can look them in the eye, and like you can see like the pain in their face. They're annoyed.
Yes.
You know.
And you come for more later and you give it back.
Yeah, you give it back. And they start smiling at you and welcoming you back. But it's that's the great interactions that are no longer on course, because we all bet online, right? And much better. But back in the days, you just heard legendary stories of Kerry Packer and like people that would swan through the betting rings. And the bookies, you know, they'd be terrified or they'd be happy, and big money exchanging hands, and you know, there's a lot of unsavoury activity, probably a bit of money laundering going on.
It would have been for sure.
Fruit and veggie markets and all that sort of shit. But that used to be legendary. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And photo finishes that were $100,000 results for either the punter or the bookie, and the swings and roundabouts of it. Yeah, it's good fun.
It is great, mate. It's awesome. I'll finish with my tip. Now, I'm a hack. I love sport. I put all my energy into, you know, even US sports. So when it comes to horse racing, I just rock up on the day and I just look at me. I can read a form guide, but if you send me a tip, I'm on that. And if I like something else, I'm on that. But one thing I will say, and I'd love to get your opinion on this, but at Mooney Valley, I don't care how good the horses are in their form. If they're a leader, they go right up in the ranks. There's something about leading at that track, even if it's not even going that well. These leaders, they just hold on. The track, the straight is short.
Yep. And it's not slingshot around that turn a little bit.
Yeah, and I reckon just with the big fields and the big day, everyone just overemphasizes the form and all that. And I've never really backed a winner because I've done that, and I've always left the track going, fucking, it's a leaders track. I should just back leaders all day. So that's one thing that I always live. If it's a nice juicy, you know, if the horse is going well and it does like to sit on the pace, that's a huge plus.
I think so. Because that straight is shortish, some horses need to balance up and really go through their gears, which you can do at Flemington. There's that big long straight. They say get to the clock tower and count to 10 and then let it go. At Mooney Valley, you don't have that. They start quickening it, you know, the 500 past the school, and then you get to that turn quite quickly, and they try and skip clear. You can get a length or two if you're a leader on the field, and then they've only got, you know, 200, 180 metres or whatever to the finish line. You can see horses fly late, but the leader holds on, right? It's not always the case, but I agree with that. Yeah, certainly it's beneficial at Mooney Valley to be, you know, on speed.
Let's go to Flemington, the big week at Flemington. Derby Day is traditionally
black and white.
Yeah, black and white. Well, tell everyone why, because we've got mates that have rocked up in.
Oh, well, that's me, mate. I don't adhere to any dress codes ever. I mean, you told me to wear shoes.
Archie's got the habits
You
on
told me
today.
to wear shoes and look respectable, and here I am with more issues than Vogue and thongs. So fuck dress codes. I rolled into the Cup Day a couple of years ago. We were doing SEN track from a marquee in the members, and I had just jeans and a T-shirt. And they wouldn't let me in the members because you obviously need suit and tie, but I was carrying my suit. And I said, oh, no, just comfy. And then when I get up there, I'll put the suit on. And they went, oh, if that's the case, Campbell, no worries, right? So I swanned my way through. Mate, I wasn't putting the suit on at all. It was like 30 degrees. I just hung it in the corner.
And just sat there
and
like that.
Mate, I was the only person on Cup Day rolling around the members like this.
Brilliant.
So fuck dress codes. You do what you want in life, you know, feel comfy. But it is traditionally black and white.
But why? Like, can I ask
no
why?
idea. No, wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah.
But like, you know, some people are adamant you must wear black and white. And
do you get in? Like, do you generally get into members without wearing black and white?
No, I think now, mate, like, what are they going to say? Like, oh, you've got a yellow dress on, you're not coming in?
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Yeah. It's Well, that's Derby Day. But why is it such a big day? The most Group 1s, is it? Or there's something about Derby Day that every year we
always great racing. Always great racing.
At Flemington, obviously.
Then we go to the 4-day Flemington Carnival. Starts early. It's like 10 o'clock. I don't know. It's just like, I mean, it's a really big international presence as well. But Melbourne people love sport, whether it's the Grand Prix, whether it's the Australian Open, like whatever it is, they rock up in mass because it's ingrained in you, right? And then you get all the internationals that come for the 3 or 4 days, and it's just a great festival. I mean, the birdcage and all that is different to what it used to be. Remember back in the day, they'd have Paris Hilton, they'd have Pussycat Dolls, and like all sorts of
big
people
names.
would roll through.
You'd be in there, wouldn't you? Would you be rubbing shoulders?
I used to be in there. Good mate of mine used to run the Lavazza marquee, Trent Knox. Shout out to St Remio Coffee. And
is he still doing it?
He's not with Lavazza. He started his own company.
Is he building up to get back there?
Yeah, I reckon he is. Yeah, and mate, he was the king of the birdcage for
so
10
good.
years.
So he
was
ran
the man that controlled the Lavazza marquee, and if you got in there, like, you were set. It was great. Great party, you know.
Big dogs.
You'd be swanning around. Lara Bingle would be there. And it'd just be bloody, you know, it'd just be nice, like
the who's
nice day. So, yeah, good vibe. Members is outstanding. The new renovation at Flemington's unbelievable. If you are lucky enough to get up, you know, in the new areas.
Champagne room, isn't it, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, and the lawns are great, and the roses, like a special. Like, it is good. I mean, it's a pain in the ass to get to. It's a lot harder to get to. All the Uber drivers and taxis out there. And I just want to say a big fuck you because they don't put their meters on, and they're dodgy bastards. They come up and they say, oh, you're stuck there last year. It was pissing down with rain. All you want is to get an Uber or a taxi, and they come up to you and they wind their window down and they say, where would you like to go? I said, Richmond, $250. Yeah, fuck off, mate. It's usually like 30. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everyone's trying to make an earn.
Oh, it's
if you've done your day if you've won on the punt, you're like, yeah, mate, no worries. Just get me out of here. But half the time, I don't like being robbed, you know? And that's just thievery.
It is. I think there's a new rule that's come out. I think they have to.
Yeah, but they don't.
No, they don't turn it on. We got done the other day. We picked up after it was after the prelim, I think it was. And we went down and we couldn't get we were trying to get a cab, and there was none around. We grabbed one, and the bloke goes, where you going? And we go, we're going to Middle Park. It was like, honestly, mate, it was $15.
Yeah, and what do you say?
And he goes, 70. Okay. And we go, and we couldn't actually get home. And I go, boys, we split it up. It's nothing. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it. And anyway, he's driving. I go, mate, why is the meter not on? And we literally said, you're robbing us, aren't you? And he goes, yeah.
Yeah,
literally looked in the mirror and goes, I am. And I go, oh, at least you're honest, mate. We'll give you a tip.
Everyone's trying to earn a buck, but you know, they're taking the piss sometimes. But I would make sure you order a car and you pre-book it and you say to your mates, you know, like, let's just all put in whatever X amount of money and you're sorted at your own time, because if you think you're going to be on the piss all day, roll out of Flemington, get to the Uber or taxi line and get one, mate.
You're dreaming.
You'll be an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And by then, you've had a great day. It's 6 o'clock. You're trying to book dinner or whatever. By the time you get in a taxi, mate, you dead set want to fucking kill someone. You know what I mean? Like,
it ruins the mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's actually a great tip. And that's why we've got the brown dog on here, because you've got to know the tips when you're going to Flemington and the Valley and Caulfield for that matter. And when it's at Flemington, the Ubers and the shuttle service after the day's end, you must be organised. It's funny. We had a day where I think we've had one winning, you know, we had won the quaddie. So there was about How many were there? Was I think I told you last time there was about a 15 grand collect between 6 of us. We backed this thing called Kentucky Breeze or something because I just come back from America. I said chuck that in because it's an American name, and we're all up and about, and because we had to wait for them to go get the cash out the back. We couldn't get home.
Right.
And I went up to a maxi taxi and said, because all the other ones were gone, I said, mate, how much? And he goes, no, booked. And I think we all said, oh, well, what if we pay you X?
Yeah.
And he goes, jump in.
That's very Vegas-esque.
Jump in. So he's just rolled so you can even book them, and you still got to be careful. So I think you got to book maybe someone at home who's not working in the industry. Yeah. I reckon that's the mail, because I reckon money talks in that car park.
There's no doubt about that. I was just I'll tell you my worst ever beat on the punt. Right?
This will be brilliant.
So I went over to Hong Kong 2015 with a group of mates, and we went. I really wanted to go to Happy Valley. I really wanted to go to Sha Tin. I'd been to Happy Valley on a footy trip for the Hawks in 2008. I'd never been to Sha Tin. It was a big international race day, and so on the Wednesday night, me and a group of guys go to Happy Valley. Bit like Mooney Valley, but with lights. Right, middle of the city, lights on, great racing on a Wednesday night, and then you go into Lang Kwai Fong and you have a great night. And so we're up in this area behind the glass, about 3 levels up, having dinner, a few drinks, and I'd lost in race 1, I'd lost in race 2, I'd lost in race 3. So because we gamble responsibly and we do all that sort of stuff.
Campbell
race 4, actually there's going to be an episode 2 of Campbell responsibly.
We'll get to that later.
So race 4 comes along, and a few people I was with, who are we on in this race? I said, no, guys, I'm sitting this race out. I'm not going to have a bet. I don't like anything. I've lost in the first few races, so I'm not going to have a bet. So anyway, these 2 horses break away from the pack, and they're going down the straight at Happy Valley, right? And it's a great battle. It's just a 2-horse war, and they hit the line, and you've got to remember I'm 3 levels up on the piss behind glass, not betting in the race, so I don't even care who wins. And I go out loud to my table, inside, right? Another mate of mine goes, Brandy, you reckon inside? I thought outside, right? A guy called Mickey Carter, great guy, right? Big punter, like everyone loves Mickey Carter. Mickey Carter goes, dead heat. And I go, mate, no way that was a dead heat. The inside got it, I think, or the outside got it. He goes, I'm telling you, it's a dead heat. He goes, I said, fucking no chance. He goes, you want to have a bet? I'm thinking to myself, this fucking bloke's trying to pick a dead heat to the naked eye from the 3rd level on the piss. I'll take that bet any day of the week, right? So I go, yeah, you're damn right, I'll take that bet. He goes, whatever you want, right? And I go, right, he goes, 1,000. And I'm thinking to myself, fuck, mate, it's not enough. I go, 2,000, right? So we shake on it. And I'm thinking, this is the easiest money I have ever made. Right? All I need is a result. Like, there'll be a margin. It'll be a centimetre, 2 centimetres, and a head, short after, whatever. So the whole room gets wind of the fact that we've bet on a dead heat in a race that I didn't even want to bet in, right? Didn't want to bet in. Now here I am writing the result of this photo finish, and you always know in racing that the longer you wait, the closer it is. So everyone's gathering around and they're laughing, right?
Yeah.
And Mickey's on the dead heat, and I'm obviously on a result. Yeah. Didn't care if it was inside, outside, and we're waiting. And we're waiting, and mate, this fucking photo takes forever, and the whole room's gathering around, and then in the frame comes dead heat, and I do my ass in a race I didn't even want to bet in on a bloke picking a dead heat to the naked eye. Fucking unheard of, mate. Unheard of. So if that's not the worst gambling beat of all time, I don't know what is.
I'm guessing you didn't have a go in race 5, surely.
No, I didn't, man.
You would have been bleeding.
I went to a place called Dragon Eye in Lang Kwai Fong. I got so pissed that I went, you go up the escalators, up, and you walk down the stairs down. Like that has been happening at Dragon Eye as long as the club has been open. I decided in my wisdom that I was going to go down the escalators the wrong way, right? So I'm going
We've
down.
all done them as kids.
Yeah, I know. I'm going down. I get halfway down and I realise that I'm going way too quick for my own good, and it's like 3 a.m. at this stage, right? But I'm committed to getting to the bottom where all the boys are waiting, right? And they're waiting, and I start going faster. I start doing 2 steps at once, and I get to the bottom, and I completely lose my footing, my legs, and bang, mate, I had my suit on. I hit the ground, dislocated my shoulder, tore all my shirt, my suit, mate, I had like the lines, and the fucking thing took me back up to the top. and I'm going, dong, 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 mate. They reckon it was like Weekend at Bernie's. They could not stop laughing. They're down the bottom. Fuck, are you all right? And I like dusted myself. I legit had the lines, man, all over me.
They're sharp, actually, yeah.
And I walk into the side. That was the suit I took. It was my wedding suit, actually. So a few days go by and we go to Sheridan for the big race meet, and I walk into the committee room with Matt Tripp and all the guys that I work for, right, with Bet Easy back in the day. They looked at me, mate, I had a ripped suit, I had fucking bruising, I had to shake their hand like this, right, and they go, what the fuck happened to you? Did you just get attacked by a cat or something on the way here? And I told them the story, mate, they loved it. But geez, my right shoulder's still cooked, man.
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah, I never had it reconstructed.
Oh, you haven't had it scanned or anything?
Nah, it's cooked. Yeah, anyway.
Oh, mate, that is just a day out. Just a day out that you don't want.
Stock standard.
And couldn't it? Yeah, that's a normal night out.
We call that a Wednesday.
Oh, that is brilliant. Well, let's get back to the Derby. The Derby or the Derby?
I call it Derby.
Derby is a Victorian thing. Derby is more, when I was in Perth, the Derby, I think it's an SA thing maybe as well. But
you're going to hate me because I think that, they're so hard. Who can stay the trip? And they're all coming from different form lines from Sydney and Victoria and all over the place. But the favourite, I think it's $3. Riff Rocket is a Chris Waller horse. Go back and watch its replay last Saturday. This thing at about the 300, J-Mac pushed the button and it just exploded and won by 5.5 lengths, like breathtaking. So on the back of that, I don't know what price it was before Saturday, but you can't go past it. I'm not a guy that tips favourites. I don't like it. But, in every race you've asked me about, like you can make a genuine case for West Wind Blows, Amelia's Jewel, and certainly if it can stay the trip, mate, that horse looks like it could be anything. Yeah,
I'm with you. I saw that. Because you get a bit worried about the Sydney horses coming down to Melbourne, but
yeah,
it just blew them apart.
Some horses can run a really strong mile, and some run, really strong 2,000. Yeah. Right? But the Derby's a different kettle of fish.
2,500.
It's. You don't know because none of the horses have run that distance before the Derby. So you're guessing. It looks like it can stay, and it looked like it hit the line well at 2,000 or whatever. But that last 200-300 metres is really when you find out, and they can just hit a wall or they can accelerate away and you go, geez, that was impressive.
That's where I really like the Mar and Eustace. You're talking about Gay Waterhouse. They're traditionally pretty good over the distance, aren't they, Waller? Like the trainer comes into it a little bit as well, do you reckon?
No, 100%. And Mar Eustace are great at training stage. Name a couple of other horses. There's another horse.
Militarised at 460.
Too short.
And then Tom Kitten at 9.
Yeah, not a fan of Tom Kitten. There's another one there.
Ambassadorial, King Colorado, Ganbear, Ravello, Roguery, I can't even say it, Shalite, Snowman, Steppity.
Yeah, okay.
To be frank, they're all $13. It's a real open, it's pretty open, but there's 2 clear favourites, which is Riff Rocket and Militarised.
Is it Centrify in that race?
Can't see it.
Might be.
Well, it's not in the, it's not in the thing there, but obviously we're still a few weeks out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Riff Rocket. Well, we'll stick with you. You've given 3 crackers, so we've got to stick with it.
Now we get to the Cup and we get to some value.
Yeah. So let's get to the Cup while we're on that. While we're giving your tips out, Melbourne Cup. We've got Nathan Broad and all the Tigers boys.
Good horse.
And I'll be back. Actually, I don't think I will back it because I don't want to curse it. Every time I do back it, it ain't winning. And then when I don't, it wins. It's amazing what happens. I think Snap Dance of the boys. I was telling Big JB about it the other week because he was Cam Emanuel and a few of the boys were in that. I reckon I backed it. Every time I backed it, it comes second, and every time I didn't, it won, and it won that many races. I just stopped betting on it. But the boys with I think it's, what is it, $6 in a Melbourne Cup or $7.50. Like, can you imagine, Brown Dog, if that was you? Like, Melbourne Cup, you know what I mean? Like, you've born and bred. Good. Like, it's $8.50. It's the fourth favourite in a Melbourne Cup.
Yeah.
Like, and its last 2 runs have been enormous.
Yeah, it's got a habit of missing the start, which makes life hard. You know, like, just slow out. Just slow out of the gates. It was again on Saturday, ran great third. It's a very good horse. There's a horse here that at like 60 to 1 that you could absolutely have something small on. Liam Howley trains it. It's called Virtuous Circle. If you shop around, there's some places actually offering 100 to 1 on this horse, but it's around about 60, 65 to 1. Its Bart Cummings run was really good. It's 22 in the order of entry, so it doesn't have a confirmed start yet, but there'll be a little bit of natural attrition. There'll be some horses that get scratched or whatever, and it's going to carry 51 kilos, which, it's a 4-year-old, 51 kilos. You've beat the handicapper there. You're getting in light, and it can handle wet or good deck, so it's pretty versatile. Not a superstar, but with no weight on its back, fit. If it gets the right run, I mean, we've seen Prince of Penzance win at 100 to 1. Like, it's not beyond the realms. There's some great spruik on some of the international horses that have come over and a few things like that. But I would say that Virtuous Circle, you could have something very small on it at that price and just let it ride.
That's good. Some value. You've given us some favourites, and then a $61 pop.
Yeah.
That's what everyone wants, especially on Cup Day.
Mate. Anyone can tip a favourite. You don't even need to be too smart to do that. But that's right.
What about the race in general and the day? What do you love about it? Like, it's a very tough day to, like, if we're talking about having a punt, it's one of the most difficult days. You almost should put it away and just put your stupid trifectas on with your family and anyone that's around. Just tell them to pick a horse. But the actual day in itself, I'd imagine the Vartza tent, like you were saying, that's the day it would be going off with the who's in town. You'd have some funny stories at the Cup Day, wouldn't you, Brownie?
Traditionally, I have been a guy that liked to watch the Cup at home. I reckon it's a good day. You go to Derby Day, you have a really big day, and Cup, for me, always, because you've either got school the next day or footy training the next day or whatever, was a day that you just had a few beers at home, had a barbie and everything. I've gone to the last few working on SEN track, which has been great fun. I mean, in particular, felt very, very, very privileged that during COVID, racing was considered an essential service.
Who took that one off, by the way? That's outstanding. That is just outstanding, isn't it, considering what was going on?
Isn't it great? Martin Pakula.
What a man.
Which kept me in a job.
Yeah.
I was driving around town, had my little essential.
No traffic. You would have been loving
service
life.
Worker, right? Yeah, paramedics and that going past, and then there's me,
the Brown Dog,
driving into SEN track to tip for the day. It was the fucking greatest thing of all time.
More issues in vogue.
Yeah. So fuck you, Dan Andrews. The dog's going in to tip a couple of winners. Essential.
Essential.
So I actually got pulled over a couple of times throughout the pandemic and stuff, and the coppers were just doing their job. No other cars on the road. Wind down your window. What are you doing out? And I just pull out literally like the printout. Right, here you go. It's like a get out of jail free card, right? and they'd look at it and they go, "It's midnight. Why are you on the road?" It's like, fuck, they had me doing Deauville in France. You wouldn't believe it. And I'd give this story like, you think I want to be up doing, Ascot at 2 a.m. Essential service, baby. Just driving over a mate's joint. No one can contain the dog. 5 kilometres, fuck that.
Oh. And you would have been wearing your Havies in the car.
So Cup days, my favourite racing memory is Media Puzzle, winning, Damien Oliver. I reckon it's one of the greatest, not just racing stories, but stories in Australian sporting history, triumph out of adversity. His brother had just passed away from a riding accident. He's got Damien riding in the Melbourne Cup, wearing his brother's silks, wins the Melbourne Cup, piloted it beautifully, just the pressure and the emotion and everything of that week to be able to go out there and execute the ride and win. And then when he stands up in the irons and points to the sky, oh, mate, I still get goosebumps. Yeah, unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Is there a movie on it? I think is there a movie on it?
Yeah, I think so. There was.
Yeah,
And he's obviously just announced his retirement. He's going to ride through the spring. He'll go over to Perth, which is where he's from, and ride those Group 1s in December, the back end of summer.
New Year's Day.
And then he's done.
Oh, he's done.
He's retired. He's hanging them up.
Yeah,
so
we'll miss him.
Yeah, but so that's that. When you speak Melbourne Cups, obviously my famous speech back at Bray's apartment after Very Elegant one.
I haven't heard this one.
That went viral.
I haven't heard this one.
Oh, mate, it was like 4 a.m. He had a huge party afterwards. All the connections came, and then invited about 10 blokes back to his place. And
the context, he owned Very Elegant and
incentivised, and he's owned a heap of great horses.
And they had the Quinella of the Cup.
We're great mates, and it was when he won his first ever Group 1. It was the Turnbull Stakes, Humidor, and we were at the Emerson that night, and we're on the piss, and someone said, "Brownie, you're a Group 1 winner. Now Bray is. Give him a speech." So I got on the table, I gave this speech, right, and security wanted to throw me out. Big shout out to Mark Hinkley, who owns the club. Dog doesn't get thrown out of the Emerson. I do now that he sold it, but actually I can't get in. But on this particular occasion, I gave this bit of a speech about the race and so I didn't think about it again. 3 or 4 years went past. He wins the Melbourne Cup, and we're back there, having a celebration and everything. And he said, "Oh, Brownie, give us another speech." So I got up on his table, and I was holding the Melbourne Cup, and I'd actually poured half a Malibu, some pineapple, I think a bit of orange juice because we ran out of pineapple, in the cup. 4 o'clock, Melbourne Cup night. And I gave this big speech, and Sonny Roth, who won the Melbourne Cup last year with Gold Trip, actually, he filmed it. And I knew he was filming it, and we did this great speech. It was pretty funny. And the next day, it was the old-fashioned something goes viral. Oh, because he flicked it to a few friends, and the next 2 days later, I'm walking through Flemington for the Oaks because I was working, and all these people, like, "Brownie, I saw your Melbourne Cup speech, right?" Like, I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, now I know how, like, some of those footy players and that, feel when stuff goes bad viral on them. This was good viral, so I didn't care. Yeah. "Oh, what did you think?" Yeah, good on you, mate. But bad viral, you can't shut that shit down.
No, and at 4 a.m. you would have went to sleep and gone, "I don't remember much of that." Oh, you remember
great.
It, but yeah.
I'll send you through the speech.
We'll get the speech.
Edit it into.
And you love a speech. You do a good speech, a bit like the Vegas
only if
one.
I'm prepared. I need to be prepared. I reckon if you just put it on me, and I don't have, I get upset that I've missed important facts. And
you need to. You're right.
I like the little things, like.
And the details.
Details.
That's what makes a great story. And you are the great storyteller. So you need to have the details for these stories and I'd imagine for these big speeches. I would love to be around another big brown dog rev up. Let's move through. We're going to skip.
Oaks is too hard, mate, Oaks. Honestly. Like, no one. Throw a dart at a dartboard and.
Yep.
Too hard.
Have some fun there. Plus Thursday, we all kind of get ready for Stake Day. So are there any other, we have skipped over a few, but are there any other races? Obviously, there's some big races that you like while we're here, just talking about horse racing, because we are doing the Spring Carnival preview with the brown dog and jumping around. But this will be the last time you give a tip. Is there anything else that you like that's worth bringing up for a future? Especially, there's obviously the Champions Sprint and Champions Mile, but anything else that you think other than that?
Not really. No, we've covered the main ones. Imperatrice is a superstar, so you can just back her every time she goes around. She's going to be short, but just anchor in a few multis. If you like one or two other things for the day, just put Imperatrice in because
is that in a sprint?
In the sprints, yeah. So Manicato, the sprint down the straight at Flemington, the Coolmore, I think it used to be called. I don't think the horse will get beaten this prep. She's 2 from 2 already and just
Flying.
deliberately going to avoid the Everest because they've got their eye on a few other things, but proper horse.
Does the dog really set himself for the Saturday? You know what I mean? Like you go Derby Day and Stakes Day are traditionally the days that we really get going. Like, who's your crew you go with, or you're working now?
It just changes, yeah. So I'll go Derby Day probably with some friends. I work Cup and Oaks Day on SEN track, and then Stakes Day. I'm usually pretty cast by then. Like I'm a bit tired, and so. Yeah, that's always. I got a mate, Quilly. You know Quilly,
the great man.
I think he's missed 2 Flemington Carnivals, only 2 days in 16 years. So he does the 4 every time. Does the 4.
Oh, wow.
He missed one because he ran through the nursery and picked a guy up and did his ACL. So that was a few years ago. And he missed a day, which is probably fair enough. I call him weak as piss. You know, should have just pushed the operation back. But can you imagine going to all 4?
Nah.
Mate, it's
a big week.
That's a big week.
You need all the suits. You need to change your kit.
Correct.
You know, like you're wearing a different suit. It's an expensive week if you're not up as well.
Yeah, I had another mate as well that used to love going to the races on, throughout the Flemington Carnival, and he'd always post. Used to wear a nice suit and jacket and a bit flamboyant, and he'd always get into the bird cage and he'd be in a marquee and he'd post where he was. And about 4 years straight, his house got robbed. Mate, I was just saying, I said to him, mate, like it's really unfortunate, but I reckon you could be playing into the hands of the crooks. Maybe change it up a bit. You're letting them know where you are and when you are. Then they're fucking hitting him, mate. It was gold.
Oh.
So if he'd done his ass on the punt, he'd go home to his house ransacked. And used to have a bit of cash under the bed, I think.
Oh, shit.
Unbelievable.
That is unbelievable. So Rupert Clark's stakes.
Nah.
Nothing in there?
No, that's been that's a bit later. We've got the Champions Mile,
I can't even find it on me phone.
So on Stakes Day, you've got the Champions Sprint, which is the 1,200 metres down the straight.
Yep.
Cracking race.
Great race.
All the quickest horses, in the country. Hope Private Eye comes down from Sydney. It ran a really good second in the Everest last year. I think it's a real chance to run well here. Imperatrice will run in that. And then you've got the mile, the Champions Mile, which, there's Antino, Mr. Brightside, Alligator Blood, Amelia's Jewel. I didn't mind attrition in that race, just around $15.
Yep.
Really good horse, and I think that's probably the value there. And then the 2,000 metre Champion Stakes race, which, again, is an absolute belter. You'll have a few trying to back up from...
That's what I was going to say. Amelia's Jewel and Brightside, you're hearing their names a bit. Do you just stick with them and just...
Nah.
Will they be knackered by then?
Well, sometimes. It's very hard to back up, when you're on the quick back up, and seen a few horses come undone. A tissues, if there's a bit of sting out of the ground, if there's a bit of rain around, a tissue would be, be a nice bet at, I think 21's in a 15. So, yeah, it's probably a bit too far to look because so much can change in 3 or 4 weeks. I reckon, Caulfield Cup, Cox Plate, Derby, and then Cup. But after that, just suck it and see a bit on what the weather's doing and a few things like that.
There you go. Well, that's our little Cup preview. You got the tips. You got some stories from the dog. Anything else for that week you've got? I love hearing any more. I don't want to prompt you and say any more stories, but at Flemington in particular, or we've already met. So let's just recap what we've spoken about, dog. So there's well, there is an attire and you have to wear it, but the dog does get around that because he's the dog. Organise your transport at Flemington. There'd be one massive one. That's
never go one out in the quaddie if you're with your mates.
Never go one out in the quaddie in the last leg. If you're going to go one out, go early because if you do get it, then you get the value, but go wide late.
Yeah.
That's a very important tip.
Yeah.
The third? That's probably the two.
Yeah, I reckon.
Two main tips. We don't need a third.
Nah. just try and weasel your way into marquees
the third would be don't have a bet on a photo finish with.
Yeah, but I reckon if you stroll with confidence towards a marquee, right, with an air of you're meant to be in there, very rarely will security or the girl at the door that's got the clipboard and everything. So I famously got a 2-year ban from the Moon marquee because my mate, that Moon marquee for a decade had tried to get a pool into the marquee, right? And they were going through occupational health and safety with the VRC for years and they couldn't get it approved. And finally, like 2017 or something, they got a pool.
Like a genuine floating pool.
A proper pool inside the marquee.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. They had water acrobats that would come down a pole and they'd be in the water dancing and everything. And I had a mate that, ran the Moon marquee. So me and a few mates got in. And what do you reckon happened?
I reckon you're in there.
I wasn't. But my mate had had a few drinks and he said, "Oh, Brandy, what do you reckon? I should go for a swim." And I was like, fucking great idea.
Egging him on.
Mate, so he gave me his wallet, his phone, his VRC membership and his jacket. And he's standing there in full suit, but just not the jacket and valuables. And he's waiting, he's looking around, there's 200 people in there. The last race had just been run and won. So the DJ's on and everyone's having a good time and there was a security guard just loitering near the pool, probably for this exact reason. And this goes to show you never switch off because this security guard hadn't defaulted from his job the whole day. And then in a moment of weakness maybe, he went across into the dance floor for 10 seconds and started dancing.
The security guard?
Yeah. He moved from his post. And my mate, Big Jim, right, he ran, he jumped, and he slid like a penguin across the tiles and into the water, right? And he's in the pool and the joint has erupted, absolutely erupted, right? And security sort of sees and he comes back and all hell breaks loose and he gets up the stairs and he starts dancing. I've got vision of that as well. We'll definitely play that. He's got vision, right? So security, 2 of them, they grab him and they usher him out the back and I'm sort of standing there with his gear and I was like, oh my God, like that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I hope he's all right. Like I hope he's safe out the back. So I sort of give my mates the gear and I walk around the back and so I put my head around the back and I gave, hey, lads, and security had him. I said, lads, he's with me, so he's not to be touched. And they look and they go, fucking course he is, right? So I got him out safely to a degree and we got a 2-year ban from the Moon. We got a 2-year ban, me and him.
That's fantastic.
So I wasn't allowed to go.
Is that expired?
I only sat 1 year out because the following year, the second year, I had full reason to, I knew my ban was 2 years. I wasn't going to go. And I got a call from Johnny Stevenson. He rings me. He's like, Brown Dog, where are you? He calls me the Wildcat. He's like, Wildcat, where are you?
Wildcat.
And I was like, mate, I'm on the lawn in the members. He's like, come to the birdcage. I want to see you. I was like, yeah, righto. So I get to the birdcage area and there's marquees everywhere. And I'll ring him again. I say, mate, where are you? He goes, I'm in the marquee. I was like, yeah, which one? He goes, Mum. Yeah, fuck, man. Long story.
Long story short.
I can't come and meet you. He's like, why not, Cat? I said, well, I've got another year to run on my suspension, right? Who the fuck gets suspended from a marquee in the birdcage? Anyway, I did. And so I go, fuck. He goes, no, mate, leave it with me. Leave it with me. So I walk up to the door, and this was a great moment for me. I walk up to the door, and there's a security guard, from the last couple of years, and he looks up from his clipboard, and he goes, Campbell, look, you can't come in. I was like, yeah, I know. I said, but my friend wants me to come in for a drink, and he goes, who's your friend? And I go, oh, Usain Bolt, right? Because John and Usain are close, and Usain knows the Wildcat quite well. And so the guy like looks at me like, you're kidding yourself, like, nice try. And then Usain comes running over going, Wildcat, come in. And I stood there and I looked at this guy and he goes, right, go for it. And me and Usain and the cat and Johnny Steph had a few drinks and had a great day.
Oh, that's outrageous.
Yeah, I got my 2 years suspension bumped by a year because of Usain.
Oh, that is outstanding.
It's good times.
That is one of the crack. That is one of your best. The cat, the wildcat.
The wildcat, yeah.
Oh my God. And you're rubbing shoulders. Like Usain Bolt just on that. Like, what's he like? Obviously, you know him well. Like, mate, that is one of the biggest names in the world. Like, if you love your sport, like we do.
He's a ripping bloke.
And is he? So when he's in those tents,
fun, just
yeah.
fun, just having his drinks, happy to
socialise. He's friendly, humble.
He wasn't wrapped with me because I sent him through the tips for that day, and I think I went 0 from 8. So he did his money. Yeah, he abused me. But no, great guy. Him and Johnny Steph are great mates, and that's how I sort of got invited into their inner sanctum. But just a really humble guy, but likes a good time, mate, like us, the listeners of this podcast.
Yeah, they love to have a laugh. Fun, they love to have a laugh. That is this is why we do this one with you, because if you're going to talk Spring Carnival, no one's had more experiences than the dog. And oh, mate, that is, I reckon you've told me some crackers. That's got to be right up there. Who are you with? I did not with you. Who are you with? Oh, just Usain Bolt, and the guy on the door just, he goes,
I forget half of these stories, mate.
Yeah.
But I got 29 weeks suspension on the footy field. I got suspended from the birdcage, fuck knows how. And, mate, I'm the only person in the history of the E.J. Whitten charity game to go in the book. I coat-hanged Michael Osborne in the game and they reported me.
That's great.
How the fuck can you report someone from a charity game? I was giving my time for free. God,
you are a very generous man. I mean, even that running the 25K while thinking you're on the piss and having a steak, that's right up there, mate. Well, brother, that's what we wanted. I wanted you back on. I wanted you to come in here and give us a couple of tips, because you do. I know you tell everyone, oh yeah, he was 0 from 8, but you do back a lot of winners, and they're always juicy. As I said, that's how we first met. My mates all fucking loved you, and every time Spring Carnival come around, they would just DM the dog, and the dog would send a few crackers in. Now, mate, when you go to the races, you always look sharp. I had to make sure that at RIXX, we've obviously everything's going really well, and this is our favourite time of the year, Spring Carnival. The sun starts to come out all across the country. It's really the most important time of the year for us. And there's this one style that we've sold out 2 or 3 times, and they're actually out of stock at the moment. I think we'll be back on. These are coming back in a couple of weeks. But I made sure to hold
Thanks, brother.
A special pair just aside. So I've got the Soho cherries for the dog, mate. So there you go.
Cherries.
Whack
mate,
them on.
I was always a Ray-Ban guy. You know that.
Yeah,
that's what I was rolling with in Vegas and stuff. But since you've given me a couple of RIXX, mate, that's all I wear.
Yeah, I know.
They're unbelievable. Look at that, mate. Soho.
Oh, Soho cherry, the dog. That's bad. And you are.
You're right?
Oh, yeah. Mate,
I'll be wearing these Spring Carnival.
No more issues for you. You have to change that tee. You're all sweet now, brother.
Love that. Thank you, mate. That's
pleasure. I see you in the I always see you in the Melrose Mints.
That's the one.
And they're always, when you're doing the potty or at the races, I thought we've got to get him the Soho cherries for the Spring Carnival. They'll bring some luck as well, brand dog.
You got to wear sunnies at the races for multiple reasons, not just because the sun's out. But just sunnies are very important.
Exactly. We've got the gradient lens, so you might want a darker lens depending on who you are, or you can be like the dog and you've got the gradient lens. Dog, leave them on for me and tell me, if you're going to go to the races, right, I want to know the one place in the world, not just Melbourne, in the world, the track that you'd love to go to. You'd take your RIXX Eyewear with you, the Cherry Sohos, and the 2 blokes you'd go with, and why?
Oh, mate, good question. I'm actually looking at putting together a little trip to the Kentucky Derby next year. It's the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby, obviously over in America, and as famous a race as the Melbourne Cup. It's their equivalent. I've never been there. I went to Royal Ascot this year, ticked that bucket list. I've obviously spoken about Hong Kong and Sha Tin and Happy Valley, Tick. There's some great race courses out there, but I reckon Kentucky. So if anyone's interested in coming on a trip, mate, we'll try and organise some sort of rort and get there. That'd be the place I'd go. I'd take these. And, who are the two blokes that I'd want to go with? Jeez.
Two's hard. Obviously, you want more, but you got to pick two for the Kentucky Derby.
Do I have to know them? Like, can I pick someone that
Mate, you don't have rules. The brown dog has no rules.
The person that I always wanted, and he's obviously not with us anymore, but I would have loved to have gone to the races with Kerry Packer, mate. Just didn't, I think I don't give a fuck. It's much easier not to give a fuck when you're a billionaire, right? He says, anyone that doesn't minimise their tax has got rocks in their heads. Why would we want to pay more tax than we have to? You don't spend it well enough for us to want to pay it more. It's just a legendary quote. So I'm going to say Kerry Packer. I know it's probably not the answer that you wanted.
No, I don't have any answers.
He'd roll in and have $4 million on horses back in the 80s,
Did
mate.
he?
Yeah. He's seen a couple of bookies had nervous breakdowns because they would take him on, and if the horses lost, they would buy waterfront mansions in Vaucluse, right? Because they've made a fortune. But if the horses won, they'd be desolate, bankrupt, gone.
Wow.
So there's one famous bookie that put his house on the market or whatever about 8 times, right? Because he had to pay Kerry and then Kerry would lose. The best ever.
That is crazy. There's one. Okay.
And who'd be number 2? Probably you, brother. I enjoy your company.
You're too nice.
We have a good time. I reckon we'll be hitting the streets overseas a little bit more over the journey.
We go well. Leave me out and give me one more.
I'm going to say John Stephenson. Yeah, he's an absolute beauty. So I'd say that Johnny Steph.
He'd have great energy. I don't know him, but I'd imagine his energy and his vibe. He'd be always up and about.
I took him down to Tassie with me a couple of times to the races down there, mate. Judged fashions on the field because he's a bit of a
he's a rooster.
He's a good man. Yeah.
There you go, Kentucky Derby with the RIXX. Mate, you can take them off now. Anyone else out there that wants a pair of RIXX, as I said, they're the Soho Cherries. We've got them back on. I think they're back in stock in a week. We've just released some brand new sunnies. We've got our special discount code ACES. If you use that at checkout, you get 20% off and free express shipping. So it's a nice, juicy discount. And like I said, we're restocking and especially the cherry ones. I don't know what's going on with this cherry colour, but it's been amazing. We should have done it from the start. So if you want a pair, get in quick is what I will say. But we've also got plenty of other designs and styles and colours. So check out rixeyewear.com.au and use the discount code ACES for 20% off. Before we go to Milwaukee Tools and hand you some tools, everyone has to say gamble responsibly, but Campbell responsibly. Mate, I want to know how this all come about and is there a chance of just a couple of us featuring in season 2? Because when I watch these ads, there's a couple of mates that, if you do know the dog, their mates they're playing a role in the background, and it is gold, mate. It's outstanding. I
like my boys to come along for the journey. It's a bit like Mark Wahlberg in Entourage, right? Yes. That's how he got him involved. So I do some stuff for Ladbrokes, and they came up with the idea of, obviously my name's Campbell, and the catch cry for all gambling companies is gamble responsibly. So they just changed it to gamble responsibly and got me doing a heap of responsible things that I would never do, like drive slowly and portion control when you're eating chocolate and when you're pouring yourself a beer, like pouring it moderately and all this sort of shit, you know. And I had a few mates involved in the shoot, and I think we're doing season 2. So what that looks like, I'm not sure, but I'm going to put a few things on the table. Like if you're going to be responsible, you might pull out a condom, give it to someone if they're going on a date or something like that. That's responsible, right?
It is.
Child control.
So you're going to go to this meeting this time and bring your ideas, I don't think any of them will actually be allowed to pass. So,
But you got to bring stuff to the table, don't you?
You do.
So
you do.
Campbell Responsibly, episode 2.
Mate, Campbell Responsibly condom brand. There you go. So you got Malibu pineapple in a can, right? So you change the Malibu to the brown dog, right? And then you've got Campbell Responsibly condoms.
Imagine that.
You got these ideas just everywhere around you. You just need to implement one, mate. You just never know. They always ask about the founders and about us, and it's like, bang, you've got it all right here.
Just got no idea how to execute anything.
Well, hopefully that thing in the Melbourne Cup gets up and you can put a bit of that cash towards it.
Hopefully some of those hit the line and we get some results over spring.
We will track these and we'll put a little thing up to follow the dogs.
Hit Tommy up if you win some money and let us know how you go over the spring.
It would be good. Now, Matt, you don't, as I said, our friends, we can't do this without Milwaukee Tools. So you're going home with our tools here and a big shout out to Milwaukee. In fact, I'll pass you over there and you can hold on to them.
Beautiful.
We've got you there. You get. They look up. I mean, without Milwaukee, as everyone knows, it's this thing doesn't tick, and they've been a great supporter of ours. I don't think I asked you in the last one, but how do you go in the garden? Like, are you a handy man in the like with the outdoors, or are you more like me? You just got no idea.
No, I go really well. Like everything gets done and done beautifully. I just pay a gardener to do it.
So that's why
you seen these hands, mate.
Oh yeah, you got no calluses. No,
I've
got a little. And I've done nothing.
They don't work, mate. These.
You got soft hands for a heart. You know, someone that was hard at the nut.
Well, I don't, because I don't do anything with them.
Oh mate, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. Well, mate, you'll be going home here with the Milwaukee M12 brushless pruning shears with the leather holster. Lightweight design offers maximum accessibility and control while reducing user fatigue. 1,500 cuts per charge on a 13mm branch. It comes with a 2.5 amp starter pack and a leather holster to get you started, which is right behind me. So, mate, when you're paying your gardener, make sure they've got the right equipment and you can clean up the garden. What do you think the handiest moment of your career has been so far? You were known as hard back pocket, but you used to kick some goals as well. What's the handiest thing you did on the footy field that comes to mind?
Oh, for a bloke like me, mate, probably just playing me role. You know what I mean? Like, what a shit response.
I'm not the coach, man. I'm not the GM at draft camp. You know when you're at the draft and you're saying that shit, you don't.
Nah,
look. Think about
the handiest thing I reckon I've ever done. And I take the piss a lot, but I don't reckon many people would have been capable of doing this. I'm blowing my own trumpet a little bit here.
That's what it's about.
But in that grand final against the Cats, I started forward, right, and was playing sort of half forward pocket, hitting the scoreboard. But then halfway through the second quarter, when Trent Crowe broke his foot and went off, I went from forward pocket to full back and played on Cam Mooney, who'd been tearing the game to shreds, and gave up 6 inches. You know what I mean? Tell me how many fucking blokes could do that.
Nah.
Kept him goalless in the second half. We're going to win the flag. That is pretty handy.
That is very handy. That is a Milwaukee Tools.
I feel like such a tool. But that's the facts.
It's facts, mate.
You can't rewrite history, baby.
That is our Milwaukee Tool handiest moment with the brown dog.
Please don't clip that up and make me look like a fuckhead. Sure. Don't make me look like a fuckhead.
No, you look great. And as I said, that's the one segment we've got where you have to reflect and talk about yourself and be serious.
I don't like talking about myself.
I know. You're a good man. Mate, love having you on. It's always an absolute pleasure to see you. To RIXX and to Milwaukee Tools, thank you so much for your support. To everyone that tunes into the podcast every single week, whether it's Tommy Talks or all the other ones that we've been doing, as I said, huge shout out. We're now warming, the footy seasons are done. We've got the NFL in full flight. Spring Carnival's about to pop off and there's no one better to talk about it than the dog. So thank you so much to everyone that watches, listens, follows us on all our accounts. Please keep your support up. We've got some huge plans coming and we're only allowed to do that because of you guys. And most importantly as well, Brown Dog, thanks so much for coming on, mate.
Pleasure, brother. WTB,
Thank you.
baby.
I really appreciate your time, your stories and your energy, mate. I could sit here all day and talk to you, but I think we've got to save some more stories for the next one.
The third episode. Surely not.
Kentucky Derby, mate. We'll see everyone listening. If you want to go, hit the dog up and we'll get a big package together. What date is it, the Derby?
It is the first week of May.
Okay,
so it's always the same time as the Warrnambool races.
Yep.
So yeah, be end of April, early May. It's sick.
There you go. Well, stay tuned for that one. You never know what's happening there. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you. Appreciate your support, and we'll see you on the next podcast. Take care. One more time, because I really mean it. I just want to say a massive thank you for all the support you continue to give us at the Ausmerican Aces. If you want to further support us, make sure you like and subscribe, hit the follow button so you can keep up to date with all our exciting shows and announcements. Righto, now it's time to give our sponsors a massive plug. Lead the charge with Milwaukee. Performance, power, precision, no petrol hassles. Learn more at milwaukeetool.com.au. Milwaukee, nothing but heavy duty. Aces, I know I always talk about the RIXXs, but I gotta offer you the discount again in case you've forgotten or in case you're sleeping under a rock. We have a special discount code for everyone that listens to this podcast or watch the podcast. It's ACES. Head online to rixeyewear.com.au and use the discount code ACES and you'll get 20% off. That's right, 20% off, 1/5 at checkout and free express shipping. So head online, rixeyewear.com.au and check it out.